The Beatles, we are back with the Beatles. Alright, not individual solo artists. This is a Beatles effort. This is I Feel Fine. Uh you know why the title is so funny? Because of a movie, I Feel Fine, such a simple phrase. It's kind of like tainted in my mind because of Martin Lawrence. So if you've ever seen Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, Martin Lawrence, he gets beat up by his sister Monique, and and his face is all messed up, and so his girlfriend's like, "What happened to your face?" And Martin like, "I feel fine." I don't know why. Just saying that, I automatically laugh. But anyway, Beatles, I Feel Fine. You know we'll do the song research afterwards. Let's go.
Baby's good to me, you know she's happy as can be, you know she said so. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. Baby says she's mine, you know she tells me all the time, you know she said so. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. I'm so glad that she's my little girl. She's so glad she's telling all the world that her baby buys her things, you know. He buys her diamond rings, you know she said so. She's in love with me and I feel fine.
I really like what Ringo's doing on those drums, the cymbals. It's a really fun record. I like it. This might be my favorite record that's dominated by the drums. And I'm going to be so pissed if when we do the song research we find out it wasn't even Ringo and it ended up being Paul or John on the drums. But I'm really liking the drums in this. But this is a fun record. Definitely, I feel like this is catered to the women. But it's a fun record. I could definitely see how this was the number one. Great record so far.
Said she's mine, you know she tells me all the time, you know she said so. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. I'm so glad that she's my little girl. She's so glad she's telling all the world that her baby buys her things, you know. He buys her diamond rings, you know she said so. She's in love with me and I feel fine. She's in love with me and I feel
fine. That's good right there. I like that. I like that. Fun record. That's just a fun, quick, you know, something to kind of get, and for the kids. Now that I think about it, they're talking about women, but I could definitely see this being popular among children as well. Just a fun, up tempo, dance kind of record. This was great, and I could tell this is from their '60s era, that '60s time period. But we'll find out right now. So here we go. It was released in November 1964. Yep. As the A-side of their 8th single, it was released by John Lennon and credited to the Lennon-McCartney partnership, of course. The recording includes one of the easiest use earliest use, of guitar feedback in popular music. That was considered feedback? Huh. I really didn't pay that much attention, but that's interesting. The single topped the charts in the UK, the US, Canada, Ireland, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden. Good gracious. It was the 5th highest selling single of the 1960s. I mean, when it comes to sales and charts, I mean, it just don't make no sense, bro. The Beatles are just all over the place when it comes to the really more so the charts. I feel like when it comes to sales is a little bit more diverse, but like when it comes to the charts, there's not a record that the Beatles don't have. I mean, sales as well, but with sales it's just a little bit more diverse. But when it comes to the charts, they just dominated. Labeled it as rock and roll and pop rock, I would agree. Lennon wrote the song's guitar riff while the Beatles were in the studio recording 8 days a week in October 1964 and kept playing it in between takes. He later recalled, "I told them I'd write a song specifically for the riff. So they say, yes, you go away and do that." Anyway, going into the studio one morning, I said to Ringo, "I've written this song, but it's lousy. But we tried it, complete with riff, and it sounded like an A-side. So we decided to release it just like that." That's interesting. They thought it sounded lazy, but thought it was an A-side. I mean, granted, great that they did, but if something feels lousy to you, that's the first time I've ever read a story like that, specifically about the Beatles, where they felt like something wasn't of quality and they put it out anyway. That's kind of the first time I've read that. Both Lennon and George Harrison said that the riff was influenced by a riff in Watch Your Step, a 1961 song written and performed by Bobby Parker and covered by the Beatles in concerts during 1961 and 1962. Paul McCartney said the drums... Y'all gonna tell me Paul played the drums? It wasn't Ringo? Paul McCartney said the drums on I Feel Fine were inspired by Ray Charles's 1959 single, What Did I Say? That's interesting. I really like the harmony of this record. I love the guitar, and again, the drums is really kind of what was the highlight for me. Again, just a very fun record. If anything, considering the sound, I thought this would have been predominantly a McCartney penned record. I wouldn't have thought John. I think I've heard enough of Beatles music and like their individual music to kind of gauge writing styles now. And so if you had asked me before I heard after I heard this, before I did research, who did I think wrote this, I would have definitely said Paul. So that's interesting. But again, we all know they're all pretty versatile and are able to hit different pockets and different styles of rock and roll and genres. But I don't know. I just definitely saw this being a McCartney record in regards to writing. The Beatles, having mastered the studio basic, had begun to explore new sources of inspiration and noises previously eliminated as mistakes, such as electronic goofs, twisted tapes, and talkback. That's interesting. It was a promotional film. It was a music video. Oh, it sure was. It sure was. Y'all know we don't have the best of luck when it comes to Beatles music videos, so I kind of just stick with the studio album cover art when we react to it, because I don't know what it is. It's like out of all groups, like the Beatles, when it comes to the music videos. Now the music, I can get away with it, but the music videos, they don't be playing. Ringo on drums, great. I thought it was gonna say Paul was on the damn drums, but that's good. When gold or platinum here in the U.S., platinum in the U.K. Great record. Really, really great record. Again, very fun. Kind of get the people off their feet. Dance record. Fun record. You could tell this was definitely a party booster. But just a fun record, and I really don't have too much to say about it. Again, the drums is definitely what did it for me on this one. So shout out to Ringo. And I love how, in learning that this was considered a lousy effort, it really just goes to show you the popularity and just how big the Beatles were. I mean, granted, I don't think it was lousy, but even if it was, let's say it was a terrible song and it went number one, that's insane. I mean, to think that something's not of quality and it still goes number one, I mean, that just speaks to their level of popularity and dominance. But yeah, I don't think it was lousy at all. I think it was great. So, but y'all let me know how y'all felt about it, man. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about it. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all for watching. Don't forget that 75K giveaway. Until next time with the Beatles, peace.